I started watching Lazarus, frankly, strictly out of nostalgia. So as I'm on HBO Max, I'm kind of scrolling around, and I see something that looks a little bit like Cowboy Bebop with the color squares, and I go, that looks like an anime. That looks like Cowboy Bebop. What's going on here? So I click on it, and I see that it's made by some of the same makers of Cowboy Bebop, and I decided to start watching it just kind of out of morbid curiosity. And then I immediately noticed that it has all the same beats of Cowboy Bebop. And I'm like, okay, you know what? It might be derivative. It might be even a little bit trite. But I'll say that anything I've seen that kind of mirrored that feel was always a good time, like Samurai Champloo. So I'm like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and give it a shot. So I dug all in, got into it, and found myself immediately addicted to the story because the storyline is amazing. And then on top of that, I mistakenly thought that Keanu Reeves was in the dub, which I think a lot of people did too when they first heard Dr. Skinner. And I stopped and I paused the show, going, "Is that Keanu Reeves?" Because he looks a little bit like Keanu Reeves, now, and he sounds like Keanu Reeves, especially his delivery. But it's not him; it's a different actor. So okay, cool. So then I switch over to the sub, as I often do. I'll watch one episode in the dub, one episode in the sub, and just kind of alternate between, the situation depending on what's going on in my life. And I just kind of noticed that the characters all still have these Cowboy Bebop feels. Like again, I don't remember everybody's name right now, so just bear with me. So I'm just gonna say some derogatory things. So like the black guy character, and I know in this world there's a lot of black people, right? Kind of moseying about, right? And I'm like, okay, cool. Is this really an anime? Because I feel like it doesn't happen very often, but maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, I have to think back to Cowboy Bebop, and they did the same thing was happening. Like you had characters kind of milling about in the universe because we're, of course, in both shows, we're in the future. With this one, with Lazarus, we're grounded more on Earth than we're not in outer space. But nonetheless, the plot of the show, which I should probably get into, is a doctor creates a drug that's basically a miracle drug that literally does everything. I'm just gonna make up something, right? Imagine that Ozempic. A lot of people are taking Ozempic now. Like I know a lot of people who are taking Ozempic to lose weight, to get back in their regular bodies, who are, or let's say regular bodies. I mean, like if you were big, if you used to be like a small person, you became a big person, and you want to be small again, you get on Ozempic, right? I know people who are already small, quite a number of women who are getting Ozempic so they can get like snatched, as they put it, or guys who go to the gym and work out and want to just see results faster, they're getting on Ozempic. Now imagine that everybody was taking Ozempic, like in the world. Like let's say like everybody was using it for different things, including kids. For like maybe it made you better in school. Maybe it was a catch-all drug that literally solved whatever issue you had. That's the situation they have with this drug, right? That everybody's been taking, right? And then the doctor announces a few years, 3 years into everyone taking it, basically everyone on Earth has been using it, that you will now die in 3 years because you used the drug, right? Or 3 months, whatever it might be, right? Basically, you now have a shortened lifespan because you took this drug. It doesn't matter how much of it you took. If you ever took it, you're marked, right? And so now that means that the world now has a health crisis because everyone who ever took that drug, and it's a lot of the population, if not most of it, is all going to die in 30 days. Okay, that's the actual plot of the show. So then this group gets together to try to find Dr. Skinner, to figure out, one, why he did it, and then two, how we can get an antidote to save the world. And you got to see in society's response to it. You get people mad at the FDA, you get people mad at the government, you get people who are kind of reflecting on their personal choices, why they took the drug. It's very cerebral, and I absolutely love it. But I'll tell you something, and maybe I'm not the only one, I'm sure I'm not. I almost immediately predicted why Dr. Skinner would do this by the second episode when they kind of made him sound like he was an environmentalist. And it's kind of the same paradox we have with AI, where like, if you give AI a directive to save the planet, it'll probably get rid of humans. Now, I'll tell you this, that it's not a spoiler because I haven't made it all the way through all the episodes. It's just my hypothesis, but it's very clear to me that Dr. Skinner was an environmentalist and that humans don't give a crap about the planet. Imagine our current world right now, where we have Donald Trump as president, who does not care about the planet. He's more about profit and more about helping the corporate interest, right? So he's getting rid of a lot of green initiatives, getting a lot of green deals, getting a lot of things that are meant to help the planet, pulling us out of accords and whatnot. That's exact situation happening in this anime, where basically the government didn't care, or the world governments didn't care about his warnings of what will happen if we don't turn an about face to the environment. And he obviously led to the conclusion, or was led to the conclusion, that humans are the virus, right? Humans are the issue. So ergo, they must all go, and they all must die. I can honestly say that's probably what he did. He and again, I've not made it through the whole, like I think it's 8 episodes, I believe. It's very clear to me that's what he did. Is that he set about to create a drug. I don't even know if he did it on purpose to help the world, but only temporarily to lull them into a false sense of security, so that he can then eradicate us, because we are going to doom the planet. And my assumption is that maybe he has saved some of the antidote for himself, or maybe other people that he's deemed worthy, that will now be the new Adam and Eve of this new earth that we need to take care of, as everyone else is gone. Is my guess, right? But then again, it doesn't seem like Dr. Skinner's like an evil person, and I think he probably regrets his actions of killing the entire populace, including innocents, who maybe would have helped the planet, you know what I mean? Like, there are probably some environmentalists who fully were on board what he's saying, and they're doomed too. So I'm hoping this show is a little bit more complex than that, but so far so good. Again, for me, it just hits on a lot of Bebop notes. I was getting into this earlier, but I kind of deviated. Like the black character, right? They got the long hair, who's kind of grumpy. He reminds me of Jet Black, which again, I'm glad they are now done with this whole thing of like naming black characters with black names. You know what I mean? Like it's just funny. But anyway, so he does have kind of the personality of Jet. He's grumpy. He doesn't love our protagonist. I think that over time they're gonna become friends. But right now he butts heads with our protagonist, right? And our protagonist has kind of the Spike Spiegel feel without the smooth, smoky voice. You know what I mean? Like, he's smooth, he's funny, he's acrobatic, he's smart-mouthed, he's quick-witted, you know. He obviously has like a disdain for authority, etc., right? The blonde female on the show, she reminds me of Faye Valentine, because she knows she's hot. She knows she's seductive. She knows what she brings to the table, right? But she's got a more complex, I would say almost like baseline. So like it's Faye Valentine, but elevated. You know what I mean? That's what it feels like. You know, there is no Ed, no wacky, crazy character. You know, there's none of that. We have a blonde kid who just kind of like, you know, like the kid of the show. And he doesn't do much. He's a fine character. I'm sure they're going to get into his backstory, and it's probably going to be really sad. That's my guess. But right now, he's cool. He's there, you know. And then we have like their fearless leader, who's like kind of like I forget her name, who is the DC woman. Viola Davis plays her. I'll get her name now, but y'all know who I'm talking about. Amanda Waller. She's like the Amanda Waller. She lives in the screen, and she barks orders, and she has like you know, a shock collar attached to our protagonist so he can't run away, you know, that kind of thing. Like, you know, if you run away, I'm gonna melt your hands off. If anything bad happens to me, I'm gonna melt your hands off. That kind of deal. You know what I mean? So like, again, it has the similar beats to Cowboy Bebop, but it's not quite that. Again, even the music, you know. The action is again, all of it is great, but it just reminds me of the other show, and I can't help myself but to compare. But I think that any show that pairs like jazz or hip hop or any music that doesn't normally get played or is normally heard in anime with these kind of visuals, you're just going to immediately make that comparison. You can't help it. It's just built into us, right? So with that comparison aside, does it stand up on its own? Again, for me, so far, absolutely. Like, the story is engaging enough. My question really is, will they be able to save the world in 30 days? Will Dr. Skinner be willing to help? And is there more nuance to his plan? Am I right about his plan? We'll find out. Is my goal. So I'm gonna wrap up and get into the rest of the episodes. I will do some further reviews. But for right now, for these first 2 episodes, I can highly recommend this. The animation is beautiful. The music is great. Again, the action is good. The storyline keeps you engaged. The characters are again, familiar. They're familiar, but they're not bad. Again, I think they have like a level of nuance that we're being asked to dig into, right? When I say that, I mean, like, they are, let's say, like, Spike Spiegel was the baseline, right? But we didn't really know much about Spike, right? I think we're going to get to know our protagonist here a little bit more. Or like, say, the blonde woman, she's Faye Valentine, but we're going to get a deeper through line of her story, right? Like, they call her the wild card of the team, right? It's like, that means there's more to her. There's more depth. Even the black character, there's a lot of mystery around him, and I'm saying the black character just because that's his defining feature for me. Like, I'm watching the anime and I'm like, yo, we got my lips. What is this? You got my lips, bro. What? I can call him the scientist kid if you want, but that gets kind of convoluted because you have Dr. Skinner. So y'all know what I'm doing. Y'all know what I'm saying. So in honor of Black History Month, no. I just wanted to, get on here and throw a video up and see how you guys feel. Have you seen Lazarus? And if not, if you have HBO Max, I highly recommend it. Or if you want to do the thing people do, and that's pirate it, go for it. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys soon. What's funny is that I've noticed, particularly on YouTube, if you do not make a long ASS video, they don't give it any traction. Like, it's like you're kind of stuck in this weird space, right? Where you have to either make a video that is so clickbaited that people have to watch it, or you have to make it really, really long, and then the algorithm shares it more. Like, I think, a guy I follow, FD Signature, or Signifier, whatever his name is. I should probably know his name, but I know his thumbnails, and I know his cadence because I subscribe to him. And he pisses me off a lot because he says a lot of controversial things, and I think he does it on purpose to get your attention and make you watch him. But he just did a video about Tyler Perry that's 4 hours long, and the video got 1.2 million views. And I've watched this man for a long time. His videos have never done that well, and I'm like, is it the length? Is that what it is? I will tell you this. I did an experiment previously, as some of you guys remember. Maybe you don't remember. It's been almost 2 years since I've done that. Where I was like, let me see if I can revitalize my channel, right? And so what I was doing was 2 or 3 weekly vlogs, where I was doing a topic like I did today, let me review this show, right? And then I was gonna meander and talk about whatever for 30 minutes. And those videos did better than anything I put up in years. And I know if I kept going, it would have eventually helped my channel grow, right? But I think I still have whatever that glitch is on the channel. So I feel like even if I do progress, the minute I get off the hamster wheel, it just tanks all over again. So let's play that game right now with this, right? So I'm gonna tell you guys about something that has nothing to do with that anime. If you want to still talk anime, let me know in the comments, and I can bring up some other shows. I can talk about other shows. I can do a whole let's do Chris Sanders with the anime hour. Let's talk anime for an hour, right? Just let me know. Leave some comments. Talk. Interact with me. And that's all I ask. I'll tell you this. I have gotten to the point where I don't care about views as much. And I say that because I don't want to be I don't care about views. I do care a little bit about views. I'm able to get views on TikTok. I can put a video on TikTok right now, the same video, and it'll do gangbusters, right? It'll do a couple thousand views, and I'll be happy, right? What I want, however, is the comments. I've got people to comment over on TikTok, but I want my YouTube people to talk, because when y'all get in my live streams, y'all are chatty Cathys. And I know that the YouTube landscape has changed a lot. So living in the comments of a YouTube video is not what it used to be. You know what I mean? And I'll even say a lot of that juice, as I mentioned before, has gone to our good friend TikTok. And in some regards, shorts, right? And even now, I still understand why what YouTube is doing with shorts. Because TikTok, you do 10-minute videos. They have all these editing options and all this stuff, and you can really get deep into the game with it, right? And shorts just feels like a random experiment. I still to this day cannot tell you how to make a shorts video pop. Now, I think there are some people who figure out the formula, but I have not done my in-depth research into YouTube like I used to. Like I'm telling you, at one point, YouTube was my life. I was on here every single day, and I was studying, watching watching all the creator institute videos, watching all the gurus who told you, here's how you get views on YouTube in 2023. Here's how you get views on YouTube in 2022. Here's how to get views on YouTube. Here's how to get your views up. Here's how to see your CTR up. Blah, 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 blah. I was in all those freaking videos, right? I was watching every single one of them. Like, it was my freaking job, because it was, right? And I learned all the stuff, and I did the things, and then it would work for a little bit, then it wouldn't work. Then it would work for a little bit, then it wouldn't work, right? And to this day, I still think there's some internal thing on my channel that I could probably do to make it better. But then I've tried other channels, and I think the problem is me sometimes, right? I just think that maybe I don't have it in me to clickbait the way people clickbait. I don't have it in me to really track the algorithm anymore. I was doing my best with the Cosmic Panda algorithm. When I was doing my best before that, and that boy dropped, and it's been hell ever since. And again, it might be a young man's game. You know what I mean? I'm 41. I'll be 42 this year. It may not be for me anymore to track down, to chase the thing. But then I think about it, I'm like, that's not freaking true. and I'll tell you why. I have I have severe sleep apnea, right? Severe. I would have, I think they said it, 44 events a night, which is where I would stop breathing. 44. And I'm watching a lot of wrestling podcasts. We get a lot of old wrestlers talking about their old lives. And Kevin Nash said that he had 11. And I'm like, okay, I was having 44 and you're having 11 and you need a CPAP machine? Ugh. What? And that scares me because, if you don't know, sleep apnea can lead to strokes and other health issues. And I don't want to die early, I don't. And I don't want to have a stroke and lose my ability to speak or be in a wheelchair. It scares me. All that scares me. Any ailment scares me, right? So, and this is going to have a point in a minute. So I went ahead and ponied up when I had to pony up, and I got myself a CPAP machine. And now I'm down from 44 events to, I think I had 2 the other night, I had 3 another night. And that's what you want. You want to be in a really, really low numbers. 44 is insane. I don't know where I was headed health-wise, but it apparently was not good, right? So I got my CPAP machine, and I've been waking up, and I've been more clear-headed than I have in a long time. And I feel like I have more energy than I've had in a long time. And I'm realizing it's not a young man's game. It's an energy person's game. Because, if I really want to dig myself in and get into YouTube all over again, I think I can redo it. I do think I can do it. I don't have the same advantages I had in the past. And that's where it scares me. And if you're like me, having to reset, but really reset is different, right? Because now I have the energy to do it. I can wake up in the morning and do all that stuff. I also am studying for cybersecurity, as I mentioned before, on a couple live streams. And I want to make that my primary focus. So I'm going to get that done first, get my first certification, and then I'll celebrate by working on trying to make my videos pop again, right? But I'll say all that to say is that it's not a young man's game, it's an energy person's game. And I need to have the energy to be able to make multiple videos in a week, or really put in time to make an hour-long quality video that you actually want to watch, right? The idea is being engaging and keeping people watching as long as possible and keeping them truly engaged. That is what it is now. I think I still sometimes think back to the old YouTube ways and things you learned in the past, where it was your max video should be 2 minutes and 30 seconds long because people don't have attention spans. And then all of a sudden it became nah, just kidding, bro. People want to watch hour-long videos. Particularly on YouTube. Again, I think YouTube has changed the guard of what it is for. Because TikTok is now where you go to watch short-form videos. TikTok is where you go to watch, those videos that, you watch and you put down, you watch and you put down, and then you go scroll and watch the next one, right? YouTube is where you go to sit down and watch basically documentaries. Regular ass people documentaries. That's mostly what I watch. Like if I watch something, it's probably gonna be an hour long, maybe 30 minutes long, but I watch these long ass videos on YouTube. And no longer do I watch anything short. Now, and I might get on the shorts on accident because I'll see something that grabs my eye, and I might scroll and do like, a little micro scrolling for a little bit. But it's still not the same as what it used to be, right? And again, the shorts don't feel like they have a community. It feels very disjointed. I feel like that's the one piece that YouTube hasn't quite figured out. Because TikTok feels like you have a community. It feels like you have groups and people that you can go to. And I won't say figureheads, but like there are gurus on TikTok for certain subjects. Not so much with YouTube, at least on shorts. Shorts just feels like random. It's like, all right, well, that looks interesting. Oh, that looks interesting. Oh, that looks interesting. But then like you don't really like get deep into it. And the comments aren't very insightful. And they aren't really like, yeah, I'm into this. Oh, right. Unless you're Ray William Johnson, who somehow managed to revitalize his career only on shorts. But I'll also tell you this too, that other people who were like in my heyday, like Black Nerd Comedy, R.I.P. Lamar Wilson, and others have kind of taken to just embracing shorts fully and going all in. We'll get as many views as they can under that platform. And I think that if I sat down, which was my original plan of bringing this up, and did the thing I used to do and just really sit down and study, like, what is the current thing to do to survive on YouTube today? What things do I need to change? What things do I need to do every single week? Like how often should I post? All that stuff. I've kind of erased all that from my brain because I decided, as you may or may not know, to focus on myself getting out of debt, to focus on myself getting into a space where, like, I am financially not, hoping on a dream and a star and a wish, to make YouTube work, right? Like in the back of my mind, YouTube was going to save me. YouTube was going to be the thing that catapulted me into a different career space and catapulted me into a situation where I can live off that money, or they could be like I can work like a remedial job. I say remedial meaning like not hyper corporate America, but instead I could work like a job where I'm making this up, like working at Foot Locker, right? Like, but then like my real bulk of my money comes from YouTube. That was my original goal. Now, because I'm out of debt, which I want to do a whole video series on that too. I can probably sneak that in here while we're down this little like roundabout talk. But now that I'm out of debt and I have savings finally, I feel more free, right? I feel like I don't have to do this, right? I can continue working my 9 to 5, whatever you want to call it, and be annoyed every now and again because I'll be honest, a project management job, I love the work. I love the pay. I don't love the work. You have like spurts of being busy. So like maybe on my Mondays I'm really light. On my Thursdays I'm really light. On my Fridays I'm really light. But on Tuesday and Wednesday I'm working my butt off. Like and you're doing little micro things throughout the rest of the week. But like your days where you're really busy, you're working from like 7 a.m. to like 7 p.m. Some nights. And when you have releases, you're working really crazy hours for releases. Or when a project is high stress, you're really, really in there. You're in the trenches. But a lot of the times I have a lot of freedom, right? And it goes to the thing. I think that in many ways, if you believe in a power on you, I think that God kind of has put me in a position to be able to chase my dreams. Like I keep getting these jobs where I'll be real with y'all. I make a lot of money or good money, and I don't have to like extra demands on my time. I'm able to easily balance, maybe because I'm how I work as a person, I'm able to balance my time extremely well. But with AI being a thing, I can now balance my time even more. Like things that would take me hours, I can now get done in a few minutes. Also with review time. So it'll be like 20 minutes instead of like 2 hours, which is fantastic, right? But it also means that for me being 41 and AI being what it is, there's a high chance that other people will figure it out. And over the course of the 10 years, as the industry gets wind of people like me getting older and they're stepping into these we call them leadership roles, we're gonna know that y'all ain't doing a whole lot of work. We don't know the truth. We know because we did it. We lived that. Hov did that. So hopefully you don't gotta go through that. You know what I mean? So that career is not something I think that is viable for me for at least the next 20 years. So I'm making a move into the cybersecurity, as I mentioned earlier, but still holding on to the feather of my cap that is my PM background, because it is lucrative for right now. And as companies still figure stuff out, I can work, multiple jobs. I can figure out like contracts. I can do different things to get myself into a space where I'm making, like somewhere around $230,000 a year, right? Which is more than I think some people need. 230. I made 230 last year, right? Between that and side gigs and everything else. And I'll tell you that like that was a excellent amount of money for me to make, because I never had to worry. I never had to stress. If I came close to running out of money, you know what I did? I had money that was going to be there the next day, right? I never even came close to that, because I started being smart about my money, started saving it, and then I also was, tricking out a little bit, like I was going on trips, doing all the things. And now that I'm down to, one single focus, my money is down by 100,000, which is fine, because that 100,000 was just going towards paying my debt, right? And now that my debt's paid off, anything extra I get, I just put in the savings. And my overall arcing goal here is to not have to do that. But again, I'm going back to the original point. I would love to be able to sit down and, let's be real here, sit down and really, really, really get my freak on. I mean, when I say that, I mean, let me clear my ledger. Let me work through cybersecurity and get that certification. I'm gonna do all the studying I have to study. And then on my off nights when I'm not studying, focus on YouTube and TikTok, because you can't just do one thing anymore. Because I was watching this doctor, I forget his name now, but he was a monk. He was on a podcast. I just listened to a podcast last night. But he was a monk, and now he's an influencer. And I'm like, what? How this guy come down from the monastery and just figure it out, and just all of a sudden now he's like a big deal? How can I do that? Like, I feel like I'm still young enough, and I still have the same enthusiasm that I could do that, right? And I think that idea that I could still do it makes it hard for me to give up on the dream. Like, I wanted to say the YouTube dream is dead. I do want to say that. But, because it is. You don't hear people talking about YouTube dream anymore. It's not a thing. But I think there's still an opportunity to figure something out. And I don't quite know how to do that unless I sit down and really focus on it. But again, I have other things I should be focusing on. So it's like, how do I do it? But then I think about this too. Remember when you were in school, in college, and even high school, and you were studying multiple things, like a day, right? And I keep forgetting, like, you know what? At some point, I had a curriculum where my entire life was remembering and studying and knowing multiple things a day. My brain's not broken. And with the CPAP machine giving me more oxygen and making me feel like my brain is lighting up and working better, I think it's only a matter of time where I could get back to that, right? So like, let's say like I know my schedule. So my Mondays, I wake up, I do one of my regular job things, cool, did that, yay. I take the afternoon to study for 2 hours for cybersecurity, and then take 2 hours to study YouTube, right? And then on Tuesday, my day is, again, busy in the middle of the day, light in the afternoon. I take 2 hours to study again, maybe in the morning if I gotta wake up early, is what it is. And then 2 hours to study YouTube. And maybe even put it into execution when I need to put in execution. Because I think like the content is important, but I think that how you market the content and everything else is also more important at this point, because as I mentioned earlier, a lot of the advantages I had on YouTube that got me to 60K are gone, right? Like back in the day, I did a lot of blog outreach. Remember when blogs were hot, like Otaku and everything else? I was going to every blog and submitting my videos, and I got them in the right places, and my videos popped, right? I like Forbes saw the article that Kotaku did and lifted it and put it and featured me on Forbes magazine's website. That's crazy to me that I even have that distinction. That's crazy, right? I have a friend who actually made it to actual Forbes, not even like the magazine. Anyway, like, and then also when I was coming up, if you reached out to up and coming YouTubers, most of them will work with you. The Anime Man gave me a giant boost in the anime visits, which I didn't even realize. Because I just reached out to him like, yo, man, Joey, I love what you do. I have this video I'm working on. You know, can you be a part of it? And he goes, actually, can you just record yourself and send it back to me, and I'll put you on one of my videos? And then he did it. It's out of the kindness of his heart. He didn't have to do that mess. He just did it out of the kindness of his heart, which is crazy. Like, what? Like, one of the biggest anime YouTubers just featured me for no reason, and I was too brash back at the time and dumb to realize that I should have just went all in on anime when he did that, because it bolstered my anime views. All my anime videos, you know, they're already doing well. They were doing crazy numbers after he did that. And I was like, no, I still want to help people. I'm going to do nerd motivation and do anime. And I should have just, if I was smart and soulless, I would have just straight up done anime. I would have avoided. I would have stopped doing Pokemon stuff. I would have stopped doing video game stuff, and I would have stopped doing motivational stuff, and I just would have went all in on anime. But then, what would have happened is I would have got burnt out, because like I love anime, but at some point I just stopped watching, right? Because I have other interests. I still watch anime today. Like I said, that's why I made this video. But at some point, you know, the whole game changes. And so anyway, so the other advantages you don't have is like, you know, bigger YouTubers don't really shout you out like that, and shout outs don't mean anything. I remember back in the day, all people wanted you to do was just say my name, shout me out, say my name, give me a shout out, bro. That don't matter anymore. That doesn't help anymore, you know? It just doesn't. And then also, you know, YouTube took away most of the social features that allowed you to share other creators. Like, like I remember when Boogie, I mean, I try not to defend Boogie, but I defend the Boogie that I knew. Boogie 2988. That man literally went out of his way with no ask of me, and nothing for him to gain. Just started like going on and clicking my videos and giving my videos some boosts and like liking my videos. We could see it in the old feed that YouTube had, and he was promoting me in his videos himself. Andre Black Nerd Comedy, same thing. Like, I was getting like mad love, and it blew my channel up really fast. And after that, I was just going balls to walls with it. But that kind of access doesn't exist anymore. It just doesn't exist anymore. It's gone. It's done, unfortunately. And so like now, if you really want to make it on YouTube, like even collaborations don't mean anything. Like people be like, hey, let's collab. Collabs don't mean anything anymore. They don't do what they used to do. Maybe I'm wrong. But like now the whole thing is you just gotta make videos for the algorithm, and hope the algorithm picks it up. And then make another video that the algorithm might pick up. You might work on TikTok and promote your YouTube channel on TikTok or on, or in other places. And I'm just like, how do you just singularly decide you want to grow and blow yourself up? Does that exist anymore? And the answer is I don't know. I haven't done any research. It's just off the top of my head. So all that to say, all my complaining on YouTube and all this stuff, I still have a special place in my heart for it. So I'm going to work on figuring out how I can be here more often, but also get back on a schedule for live streams. I had a schedule for my live streams, and my job destroyed that. Frankly, it really destroyed it. And now I need to figure out my new schedule. And I'm thinking I'm probably going to go to Wednesdays, because I was doing Tuesdays for a bit, but now it just doesn't work. So Wednesdays is probably better for me. But I have to be really dedicated to it, and I have to make sure that I stream the same time every night. And that's hard because I like doing stuff randomly in my real life. So we'll see. All right, guys, I'm going to stop here at 34 minutes of the video, because I think that's enough. And I love even numbers. So thank you for watching. If you made it this far, let me know by saying the word kazoo if you got to this point in the video. Bye.